The end of the world is coming. Indeed it is. But only one knows when. Anyway, the sky is falling. Not that either. I wish it would rain. It's hot as all get out here. I'm over here in wonderful Pooler, Georgia, sitting at my shipper waiting to get my load in the morning. They were kind enough to let me stay here. So, I don't know if any of y'all come around this area, but don't go to the don't go to the Circle K in Garden City. That place is turned into a dump of a pigsty. I left a message with their corporate office. I think that the manager there is getting kickbacks from the people parking over there. That place is a joke. I used to be able to park there. As long as I got there by a certain time, there would be like 3 or 4 spots, if that. Now, every parking space is taken up with at least 2 cars. They all look like they belong in a junkyard. Just like the daggum can hauling trucks that probably drive those cars. So inconsiderate. They literally take up every single spot. Anyway, that place was nasty anyway. Soap dispensers never had soap. Paper towels didn't have any paper towels. Bathrooms dirty. No fresh donuts. Coffee was probably 2 days old. I don't know. That might be the only thing fresh there, but it was probably like military coffee. Anyway, enough of my soapbox. So, I'm going to keep on my soapbox because I had a miserable day today. The reason for that sky is falling post. Now, what you do when you have issues is you just regroup and recover. I booked a load going to Statesboro of cotton for, $1,450 coming from Calhoun. No. I was in Calhoun. It came from Center, Alabama, and went to Statesboro, Georgia. So, it was, what was it? $4 and some change a mile. Let's see where we're at, right? Where are you at? 1450? No, not that one. That's a different 1450. It was $4.45 a mile loaded. There was about 60 miles or so of deadhead in there. So I was in Statesboro, and this is up on the other side of Statesboro, Georgia. There's nothing that comes out of that area really. There's a Walmart DC over there and some Toro Lawnmower, I believe, has a spot over there, and a few other warehouses, but there's not a lot that comes out of there. You got to know when it drops. Basically, same as Schneider Market. You got to know when it drops and when it's going to show up. So, anyway, it didn't matter. I've been booking loads the day of my drop because down here, making money, baby. So I got this other load. I booked it for $1,400 going to Calhoun from Savannah. It was like 320 miles back up, right? Had an 8 to 3 or 10 to 3 window. I got there at 11 o'clock. They couldn't find the container number the load was coming off of. Some of these Raycons, when you get them, if they're near the port, they're basically a cross-dock facility. They'll pull it off and set it into a storage off to the side, or they will directly load it from the container onto your trailer. It's supposed to have been 40,000 pounds. It was $1,400. Yeah, not $1,450, $1,400. And it was about 54 miles of deadhead. Not a problem. I knew I was going to have to deadhead to get to Savannah, because I didn't think I was going to find anything in Stillmore or Swainsboro or anything like that paid well. And I'm trying to keep a day rate at a certain amount, a minimum of 11. But I've been rolling up 14s, so I keep it at 1,400 with 350 to 450 miles a day, including deadhead. But anyway, I got this load. I was stayed at the cotton place for like 30 minutes and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and head to Savannah. I'm going to head to the Loves over there at 16 and 280. So as I was passing by the Parkers, because I took 80 down there, as I was passing by the Parkers, I seen some spots in there, and I whipped it up in there because it was a little bit closer. And if you go straight down 80 instead of going down 16 to 95 to get to Savannah and all, you got a better shot. You don't have to go through the scale. 80 drops you directly onto this parkway behind me. Cooler Parkway? No. Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, which has a lot of warehouses off of it, and usually it's a better shortcut that way. I mean, if you know your way around down here, that's why all the can haulers go that way. Anyway, so I get down here and I check in. Stop at the gate, check in. 11 o'clock I got there. Couldn't find my load. It wasn't, oh, where's it at? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you got the wrong container number. So they gave me a container number going to Calhoun, same place, quarter mile away from, or 3/10 of a mile away from the actual destination on the Raycon. So I'm out there, I'm looking at this, and it's actually got 4,500 more pounds. It was supposed to be 40,000. It was 44,500. Okay, I can deal with that. I sat there for 2 hours. There was 3 trucks ahead of me. They all left. 2 containers came in, had to be live unloaded, and 3 other trucks came in after me. When you're a driver, you tend to notice those things. So they finished the 3 that were in front of me, and then they were working on the 2 cans next to me. So I went in there, I went up to the dock. I didn't go inside the warehouse. I went up to the dock and said, hey, when are you going to start this one? That was after 2 hours. Oh, well, in about 20 minutes, as soon as we're done with these guys. Well, first, the forklift guy didn't know. I think, I don't know, man. I don't know nothing. Okay. So then this guy comes out and says, yeah, we'll get you started in 20 minutes. As soon as we get these 2 guys done. Because the forklift guy was like, this is a live unload. Well, I'm a freaking live load. I mean, what difference does that make? Live unload, live load. I'm an empty trailer. I need product in my trailer. Whatever. Okay. I can deal with that. So this guy comes out and says, they'll start loading you in about 20 minutes as soon as they're done with this. So sure enough, right after they got done and those 2 containers took off, dude starts working on mine. First pallet was like 9,000 pounds. And I'm like, wow, at this rate, those 52 pallets you got for me, or 45 pallets, I'm sorry, that were supposedly on the sheet that you got for me are going to overweight my truck. I'm assuming he stacked them like 3 high. I don't know. So then the guy comes out again and says, where are you going? I said, Calhoun. He said, crap, wrong order. I'm like, that's not mine? He says, no. So he runs back inside, talks to the forklift guy, and they start ripping the stuff off my trailer. I'm like, okay. So after about 3.5 hours, they're still working on the guy next to me. It was his product, not mine. So they're pulling it off my truck and throwing it on there, and then they spilled a pallet or busted some straps and almost lost it. And I got out of my truck. Thanks, man. I got out of my truck and I'm looking at the, not any other time did he step on his pedal until he got next to my window. Moron. Anyway, so, sorry. I get out, go to the back of the trailer, and I'm looking through the crack, and they're still working on that pallet. They get it off finally and move it out the way, and the guy that was talking to me and kept updating me earlier was doing something with the pallet while this other guy finished loading the truck. I went back to my truck. About 20 minutes later, it was 4 o'clock. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was 4 hours. It wasn't 4 o'clock, it was like 3. Because 10 plus, or 11 plus 4 is 3. Time-wise, not 14. Anyway, so 15, 3, 12, 13, 14, 15. Anyway, I digress. math. So I walked back there again. All right, I went around to the side where that guy just pulled out where they finished loading him. And he had just left the facility itself. He had pulled up there, got his paperwork or something, and then he left. So I walk up to the dock, and there's this one guy, and I'm like, where's the boss man? He points over in that direction. I'm like, well, when are y'all going to load this truck? He's like, I don't know. I don't know what he said. I have no clue. Like, okay, fine, whatever. So I go back to my truck. I'm already pissed at this point. I mean, at 2 hours, I was ready to drop the load, but I don't drop loads. I just don't do that because that's not right. When I book a load, I book a load, and I'm committed to it. And the reason for that is I'm not going to sit here and find another load and drive another hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and then wait another 2 or 3 hours to get loaded and then go, or 1 hour, depending. You know, I'm already in. I might as well stay another hour and a half, 2 hours. But I did that at the 2 hour mark. So I'm now at the 4 hour mark. So by this time, I'm not happy. I don't get livid like I used to anymore, but I'm not happy about this at all. So after he said that, I went into my truck and grabbed the paperwork because they had already came out, gave me the paperwork, had me sign the papers, and went back inside. They did that like after the first 30 minutes, which didn't make any sense to me. He's like, well, this is the way you can just get your load and go. Okay, never had that happen before, but okay. Except for like loads of cotton. I mean, you grab the paperwork, they have you sign it, and then you go get your load, and then you leave the cotton facility. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of action going on over there. A lot of sirens. Not surprising. Pooler's a ridiculous place to live. So I go in the building. Mind you, I worked in warehouses for over 2 decades. I know how these warehouses operate. And this was not how a warehouse operates. I mean, you should update someone something. I mean, don't leave us sitting there waiting, shivering with anticipation. So I go in there, and the lady puts her mask on and comes out and, can I help you? Yeah, is my load even ready? Is my product here? She said, yeah. Yeah, you'll be loaded when it's your turn. I'm like, yeah, well, 5 of the trucks have like came and went, and I'm still out there waiting. She's like, yeah, well, we're first come, first serve. I said, yeah, but 5 of the trucks that came in after me have left. They came in after me, not before me, which means I should have been done before them. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's nobody else there but me. No one. No one. No trucks. 2 containers. That's it. Nothing. So she starts saying something to the guy next to me, who gets up and says, well, you were a work-in. No, I'm sorry. Before that, she said, well, there's only 1 person back there. I said, ma'am, there was 5 people back there. I counted them. I physically watched them load and unload containers and trailers. 5 people. Not 1. There might be 1 now because y'all are sorry, but there was 5. So, needless to say, this guy chimes in and says, well, you were a work-in. And I said, well, how much longer do you think it's going to be? I don't know. You were a work-in for this container wasn't even scheduled. I took the paperwork. I laid it on the counter. I said, thank you. Yeah, have a nice day. Don't touch my truck. And I walked out, jumped in my truck, and I left. So I was done with that. It was a $1,400 load, just like this one is, but this one has less miles. So I guess I kind of won, except I lost a whole day. Although I was thinking about going back Friday because I got work to do on my truck. But, you know, I mean the pickup truck. So I said, forget all this nonsense. I'm done. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. So I left. I pulled away and drove like a quarter mile down the road and parked on the side of the street there. It's a dead end road, and said to heck with it. We're finished for the day. So that's when I went to the Circle K in Garden City and found out it's a piece of trash. But anyway, I'm not happy because I lost a day, but what happens when you do that? You just get back up, brush yourself off, and go back at it. Same as always. Same with anything. I mean, if you don't succeed in trying, you get up and try again. You might have to change your method a little bit. Not in my case. I mean, it's just book a different load. But yeah, I sent the broker an email. I said, after I left the building, I sent him an email. I said, take me off this load now. And he says, hold on a minute here. He says, does that mean you're taking off? I said, I'm a work-in on an unscheduled load. There's one person working out there, which is a lie. There are 4 people in the warehouse. I'm not sitting around here any longer when they're going to tell me I'm a work-in and there's nothing else being unloaded or loaded. So yes, pull me off the load. This is unacceptable and disrespectful. He said, well, is there anyone you can call to resolve this? Anyone you can call to resolve this. I am my dispatcher and I am my driver. I said, I'm sorry, to resolve what? You told me there was a load here, and they tell me I'm a work-in, and they leave me sitting for 4 hours. I have a signed rate con. That's another thing I failed to mention. I have signed a rate con that says I do not get detention. All accessorials were included in the rate con, which was fine. You never get that much going to the other side of Atlanta, except for now, because rates are crazy right now down here. I said, I have lost the whole day sitting here. I said, we'll pull you off the load. I said, I give the best service I possibly can. This was just ridiculously uncalled for. Thanks anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, that's how my day went. How'd yours go? Pray it went better than mine. Now, these things happen, though. I mean, like I said, you're going to run into problems. And you're going to get screwed every now and then on a load. It's not necessarily the broker's fault or the shipper's fault or anybody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, I've been to a facility where I knew what I was getting into. I went to a place that makes cans. It was a can load. I think it went to Florida. I don't remember. And all the reviews, 80% of the reviews were horrible. You're going to be waiting 4 hours, 6 hours. I was prepared to wait. But see, it's a production facility. The things you got to understand. This is what a lot of people don't understand when they get in this industry. And then they got to wait for when they go to an actual production distribution center, not just a regular like cross-dock facility or anything like that, where issues go wrong there too. But I mean, in a production facility, I worked at one that make fabric softener and dishwashing liquid. I was on the mixed deck making dish detergent for Winn-Dixie and Sunlight and a bunch of other people. But we would run into issues. I mean, it was run a little bit different, but I think we had dedicated carriers, so it didn't matter too much. I don't know. I was in my 20s then, so I have no clue. I have no clue how they ran it. But anyway, so I mean, your lines can go down, and the problem with the can place I went to is the lines. I'm guessing they had old machinery, because the older your equipment, kind of like a truck, the more it's going to go down, and the more pissed off drivers you're going to have, because they're the ones booking the loads through the spot market instead of having contract freight. So I mean, if they could get somebody in there with contracts, if they can get somebody in there with contracts to run contract freight and just have them come pick up the load when it's ready, I don't know if they had that or not, but I know there was a lot of us that picked up loads there for empty cans. And when I went there, it was funny because I said something to the security guard. I said, I read your reviews. And she said, and you still came here? Yes, I still came here. I understand what I'm in for. I mean, I was in and out of there within an hour and a half. They sent me around the back of the building to wait. I pulled over there, and by the time I got parked, bang, they called me up and said, it's time to get in this door. All right, awesome, good stuff. Your facility is running at full production today. I like that. But yeah, we had, so for example, in our warehouse, we had a palletizer. So what that does, and we also had a filling machine. So you have this machine, it has, I think, a dozen bottles inside the case. You would take these bottles, they had a group of girls that would take the bottles, the cases, and dump the bottles out, and then they would put the boxes on a conveyor belt. The bottles would be stood up by a machine and go through a filler, or the girls would put them on the machine, I'm not sure, but they would be on a filler, kind of like the Coke bottles if you ever went to the World of Coke, where they would be standing up going through this line, this curved line, until they get to their fill spot. And they would stop, whoosh, fill up, and go to the next, where whoosh, get a cap, and go to the next. Boom, dropped in the box. It would get a dozen put in the box, and occasionally that machine would go down, or the fill machine would go down. Fill machine goes down, you're screwed, because you can't manually fill those up. You have to wait. But that's how that would work. And then the boxes would go to a pallet. The boxes would go to a pallet, and they would be staggered. You'd get like 3, or 4 this way, 4 this way, and 3 this way. And then it would be 3 this way, 4 this way, and 4 this way. That way, it would be tiered off to where they wouldn't fall over, because you can't stack them all the same if you're stacking 5 or 6 high and so on. But it would tier them off and stack them, whatever, 5, 6 high, whatever the rating was for that box and everything. And then it would send it, once the pallet was stacked, the pallet would go further down the line, and there's this thing called a palletizer. Actually, the machine, it was all one big, it was like a big, huge chimney, maybe as wide as this truck, or as wide enough to fit one pallet, and a little bit of extra space. And it would lower, the boxes would be slid on. It would lower, and every time it slid the boxes on, after it slid them on, it would compact them together just a little bit, and then it would lower. It would drop and drop. And once it got to the bottom of that, it would spit it out. And then it would get to the end of the line, and there's this machine that would come down, and this pallet would spin around, and the machine, the plastic would just go down on that one side, and as it was spinning, it would get wrapped. And that's what you call a palletizer. Everything worked fluid, efficient, all that good stuff. But that company went bankrupt. DeSoto Prescott. They were first DeSoto. They became DeSoto Prescott when Prescott bought into them, and they ended up going bankrupt. And that was in the 90s, I think. But yeah, they also did I think it was also paint as well. Yes, it's still available. Anyway, so I'm running along here, and I'm sure y'all getting bored by this point. I don't know if y'all are interested in any type of production or anything like that. But y'all need to watch like the Great Freight Sage Logic if y'all haven't seen some of his stuff. He's got a video that's going to be coming out about, it's going to be live, and it's going to be about, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, about the industry and how it's changing as far as, what the heck was he talking about the other? You know what? Cranioflatulence is terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. Anyway, I'm running along, and I just need to quit for the day because, it's been a bad day. Tomorrow, this is a straight through load. I'm running to Peachtree City, and then I'm probably going to backtrack to Jackson or something like that. I'm not going to that TA up there near Peachtree City because they want $10 to park. I'll find somewhere near there to park, maybe, if I'm lucky. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a load, grab it, and head halfway back or a quarter of the way back. Anyway, I leave you with this Proverbs 11:25. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. So be generous, be kind, be loving. Stop being selfish. This world needs to stop being selfish. Right? I mean, think about it. We're all guilty of, man, look at that person. I can't believe they're doing it. I can't believe they're dressed like that. I can't believe they would go out looking like that. I can't believe that their opinion isn't like mine. Love each other. Bless each other. Be kind to each other. No one should seek their own good, but the good of others. 1 Corinthians 10:24. Y'all have a blessed day.